Japan doesn't have nukes, officially. But here's the thing, they could build one in about 6 months if they wanted to. And with China flexing harder than ever in the Pacific, some people think 2026 might be the year Japan says screw it and goes nuclear. So are they actually doing it? Because the signs are getting real weird real fast. Let's get one thing straight. Japan is what experts call a nuclear latent state. Fancy term, but it basically means they have everything they need to build a nuke except the actual decision to do it. And I'm not exaggerating here. Japan has 47 tons of plutonium stockpiled. That's enough to build over 6,000 nuclear warheads. 6,000! They've got advanced centrifuge technology, world-class nuclear reactors, and scientists who could probably design a warhead in their sleep. Oh, and their space program? Yeah, those rockets that launch satellites, flip the payload, and boom, you've got ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. The crazy part? Japan could have a working nuclear weapon in literally 180 days. That's faster than it takes most countries to pass a budget. We're talking about a nation that rebuilt itself after World War II into a tech powerhouse. You think they can't figure out how to split an atom for military purposes? Please. But here's where it gets spicy. Japan signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. They promised not to build nukes. They've been the poster child for nuclear disarmament ever since Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So why would they throw that all away now? 2 words: China aggression. China's not just building islands in the South China Sea anymore. They're militarizing them. They're flying jets into Taiwan's air defense zone almost daily. They've got hypersonic missiles that can hit Tokyo before Japan even knows they've been launched. And their navy? It's now bigger than the US Navy. Let that sink in. Japan's alliance with the United States is supposed to protect them, right? The nuclear umbrella. America promises to defend Japan with nukes if needed. But lately, Japan's been asking some uncomfortable questions. Like, what if America doesn't show up? What if a future president decides Taiwan isn't worth World War III? What if China calls the bluff? Because here's the reality. China has nukes, North Korea has nukes, Russia has nukes, and Japan? They've got strongly worded diplomatic statements. That's not exactly a power move when your neighbor is pointing missiles at you. And 2026 is significant. That's when some analysts predict China might make a move on Taiwan. If that happens, Japan's caught right in the middle. They host US military bases, they'd be dragged into the conflict immediately. And if things go nuclear, Japan's the one without a seat at the big boy table. So yeah, the pressure's building, and some former Japanese officials have been saying the quiet part out loud. Maybe it's time to reconsider the whole no nukes thing. Oh, and real quick, if the idea of Japan secretly building nukes while the world isn't looking sounds insane to you, smash that subscribe button, because geopolitics in 2025 is basically a thriller movie and you're gonna want updates. Seriously, this stuff writes itself. Alright, back to the nuclear drama. So is Japan actually building a secret nuke? Honestly, probably not. Yet. There's no smoking gun, no leaked documents, no whistleblowers, no satellite imagery showing secret weapons facilities. If Japan were going rogue, we'd likely see signs. Increased plutonium processing, sudden changes in their nuclear energy policy, maybe some suspicious construction projects. What we do see is debate. Japanese politicians are openly discussing constitutional changes that would allow a more offensive military. There's talk about counter-strike capabilities, which is code for we want missiles that can hit you back. Japan's defense budget just hit record highs. They're buying Tomahawk cruise missiles from the US, developing their own hypersonic weapons, and building up their military faster than any time since World War II. And here's the kicker. Public opinion is shifting. Polls show more Japanese citizens are open to the idea of nukes than ever before. It's still a minority, but the needle's moving. The trauma of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is fading with each generation. Younger Japanese people see China as a bigger threat than abstract nuclear fears. But there's also massive pushback. Japan's pacifist constitution, the political fallout, the international condemnation. Going nuclear would be political suicide for any leader. South Korea would freak out. the US would lose their minds. The entire nuclear non-proliferation framework could collapse if Japan breaks the seal. Let's game this out. Say Japan wakes up tomorrow and announces they've built a nuke. What happens? First, the region explodes. Not literally, but close. South Korea immediately starts their own program. They've been thinking about it too. Taiwan might try to go nuclear. You have an arms race across East Asia within months. Every country with nuclear ambitions suddenly has permission to say, well, Japan did it. China would lose their absolute minds. This would be their worst nightmare, a nuclear-armed Japan allied with the United States sitting right on their doorstep. They'd ramp up their own arsenal, maybe even consider preemptive options before Japan fully develops a credible deterrent. And the US would be stuck. They can't really condemn Japan without looking like hypocrites, but they also can't encourage nuclear proliferation. It would strain the alliance, even if privately some Pentagon officials might think it's not the worst idea. And the nuclear taboo? Shattered. The idea that nukes are only for the Big Five Permanent Security Council members goes out the window. If Japan can do it, why can't anyone? So is Japan building a hidden nuke to stop China in 2026? Right now, no. But could they? Absolutely. And if China keeps pushing, if Taiwan becomes a flashpoint, if the US commitment wavers, don't be shocked if Japan decides that being a nuclear power is better than being a nuclear target. The clock's ticking, and in geopolitics, 6 months is nothing.